Welcome back to the Michigan Business Beat, brought to you on the Michigan Business Network. Chris Holman here, coming to you from our studios at the Lansing Regional International Airport. And we are going to go down to the Detroit area, north of Detroit, of course. We're going to be in Troy with Tom Kelly, President and CEO of Automation Alley. Tom, it is always great to spend time with you. Let's talk a little bit about the series that you've been doing with us, and we thank you for that, by the way. Coming back to talk about Automation Alley series of Integr8 Playbooks, right?
That's
so
right.
Your next one is focused on additive manufacturing. God, I wish I knew what that was. I really hope I know what it is when we're done here. So let's get right to that. Tell us about the playbooks and what this is all about.
Yeah, well, Chris, thanks for having me again. I always enjoy speaking with you, and I think you probably know a little more about additive than you're letting on for your audience, but we'll go with that dazed look that you have about additive. So this Integr8 series is, remember, Integr8 used to be a one-day exhibition, and we got people together and they talked and learned, and it was great. And then we thought, well, what the hell we do the other 364 days? And these people are running businesses the entire time. We'd leave energized, and we said, we got to break this up. We're going to turn this into 12 roundtables where we deep dive on very important topics that are affecting manufacturing, like additive manufacturing, which we'll talk about, artificial intelligence, the jobs market, global standards. Those really are important these days around Industry 4.0. Robotics, and the list goes on. We do 12 this year, and they've been so wildly successful. One data point, Chris, we published, you talked to me about our first book on global trends. We published that book. We've had 30,000 views on that one playbook. Normally, our views around the state are measured in the hundreds, Chris.
Yeah.
This has been explosive, and so something's working here. And so, I'm delighted to talk about the one we're going to talk about now, which is additive manufacturing.
Well, usually that means there was a need, right? So
Right.
You're filling that need. So you just released the findings from your third roundtable. What was the focus, and give us a little bit of the findings?
Yeah, so the focus was additive manufacturing, as you had said, and that is a real touchstone, a real lightning rod, if you will, for the industry, because it's a popular, if you wanted to really hit the three things in I4O that Industry 4.0 that have the potential to be massively disruptive, it's artificial intelligence, it's additive manufacturing, and it's new, cheap, collaborative robots, right? Those three are the three horsemen that are really going to, because all of them manufacturers don't understand today. It's not like they're incrementally going to change something. So this additive pillar was really important. And what we learned from our members that got around this table is, one, they understand what's happening, but they don't understand how to fit additive into the way they do work today. We had a great data point. One of our manufacturers said, Tom, I have big manufacturers. Tom, I have 500 engineers today. Not a single one is trained on design for additive. And I said, well, what are you going to do about that? He says, I can't do anything, because all 500 are critical to the job I'm trying to get done today. He said, I'm completely stuck, because design for additive is not, it doesn't slipstream into what I'm doing today. It's a completely different way to make things. So I have to carve out people and resources to start to learn that. And we're so lean, I don't know how to do that. That's the crux of the problem, Chris, whether you're big or small. He happens to be a big guy. But if you think about that, this is what we're dealing with. We have a leaned out manufacturing environment that doesn't have the capacity for their own R&D. We sort of dismantled that over the last 50 years. Remember, manufacturers used to always do their own R&D, and they outsourced it all. They said, oh, it's too expensive to do that. Well, now that manufacturing is sort of vertically integrating because of this additive design for additive opportunity, we don't know how to do it anymore. And so that's what we're teaching. That's what we learned from this roundtable. Now we got to work on the solutions of, okay, how do we help them do that?
Well, so I was going to ask you about the challenges, but you just ran through that. Tell me about Automation Alley and the program that you mentioned a few minutes ago, that's additive manufacturing support.
Yeah, well, we're really pushing on this additive through Project Diamond. Diamond, if you remember, stands for Distributed Independent Agile Manufacturing on Demand. And because we know this is a new way to make things, we said we need to bring all smalls together where they can all get in the boat and row together. And it's so expensive to do additive. We said, well, why would you want to have to buy your own additive equipment, Chris? And then someone else has to buy their repetitive equipment and on and on and on. Said, why don't we just share the equipment that we have? Because once you design it additively, Chris, you can push a button and your friend Bob can print it for you. And you both can make margin on it. And that's really a totally transformative idea. And we have 300 manufacturers on our network already. Think about that in Michigan, 300 on Project Diamond. And so it's just the tip of the iceberg. But that's why when you marry all this change with AI and additive with what we're doing with Project Diamond, you think, dang it, we're going to make a change whether if it kills me. We're going to make it.
I got to tell you, as usual, we're out of time and we got about halfway through, so we're going to have you back. But we do want to talk about trade missions and some of those things. Tom Kelly, President and CEO of Automation Alley. Always a delight and very informative every time I spend some minutes with you. Thanks, Tom.
Chris, thanks for having me as always.
You're watching the Michigan Business Beat on the Michigan Business Network. I'm Chris Holman.